Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to be sharing my March homeschool haul. A lot of channels are putting out, curriculum for next year and all that, and that's great. I'm just not there yet. A lot of what we do in the summer impacts what we do in the fall. So although I have an idea of what we're using next year, I am in no place to start buying curriculum, and I'm also not one of those people that can buy thousands of dollars worth of curriculum at one time. I have to space it out for our budget. But I did start picking up some things in March. Some of it was used for right now, what we're doing in homeschooling. Some of it will be used for next year, but I think it would be a great time to show you what I got for March. So I spent $217 in the month of March picking up supplies for this month and next year's homeschooling. So I'm gonna start with Ollie's. So I was looking for something for my 4-year-old. He finished his letter of the week curriculum, and he's quite not ready to go into all about reading level 1. Now, both my girls before him went from the letter of the week curriculum straight into all about reading without any issues. He started earlier than my girls did, and he's also going to take more time to learn all of his phonics, which is completely fine, but I needed something to fill in that gap because I suspect we'll have maybe about 6 more months of intentional phonics practice before we can move on to all about reading. So I need to find something to fill that gap. I know Ollie's has a bunch of different workbooks and like the tracing things and just fun things like that. So I went and looked and I found this. This is Curious George Adventures in Learning. It was $4. I actually did this with my oldest. This is one of the first things we did for her preschool years. So I'm familiar, we've done the entire book before, but I really like that it starts by you read a story together and then you have different practice pages. Again, he's gone through a lot of fine motor skills, a lot of the basic foundations of learning, but he's not quite ready to take the next step. So we're just in this in-between zone right now. So we read the story, and I like that it has questions on the bottom, which I would think would be pretty obvious for parents to ask different questions while they're reading, not just read the story, but I do like that it's there. So this is some of his work he's done. You can see, say the name of each pictures, and then find the same letter sound. That is something he struggles with, recognizing different letter sounds. So that's something we're working on. So it has tracing, letter recognition, all those things that are just, I think, basic. And some of it he's gone over. So we just did the 5 senses using core knowledge preschool. So some of it's a review, but some of it's new. And I think having that extra phonics practice is helpful. So we usually just do a page a day. Another thing I picked up at Ollie's was this educational pack. So this is by Little Genius, and it was $8. And there's 5 books in here, and they have them for different age ranges. So I got the color cut and paste. This reminded me of the human workbooks. The learning, so this is letter recognition, writing practice, letter sounds. And this is tracing and writing. This is numbers, names, quantities, and ABC fun, so alphabet, letter recognition, uppercase and lowercase letters. So again, he'll just pick, since we do this 5 days a week, he'll pick one of these and do a page out of it. So for example, for this one, he was finding the ones that made the letter A sound, letter B sound, has some basic tracing things, so he enjoys that kind of stuff, and it's one of those things that it's quick and easy, and he enjoys doing school like his sisters do, so he's a kid that enjoys a good workbook, so tracing activities and things like that. So for $8, this really couldn't have been any better, really. It was a great fit, and I think it will help us with that in-between time. So that is something I picked up for him. Next would be math. So I picked up the next levels of dimension math for my kiddos, my 7 and 11-year-old. So I picked up 2. And it's nice, I actually had the teacher guide already, so I just had to buy the textbook, the workbook, and the tests for my 7-year-old. And then for my 11-year-old, we are finishing up the 2nd level of B. So I had to pick that up. She's already started level B, but I had to pick that up early in March. And the teacher guide but just those few things was $108. And then something I also picked up was, I've noticed that although we really love Dimensions program and the mastery approach works really well for my girls, I've noticed that they needed some extra review practice. Dimensions kind of has, it is a mastery approach. You go deep into it and go on to the next thing. And there is review, throughout the book, but they need more. I was noticing with my oldest, she would get a concept really well, we'd move on, and a couple weeks later, she would remember how to do it, but she'd stumble. And she wasn't, I could see she didn't have the direct pathway. I've been doing a lot of learning about memory and retention in relation to what I've been seeing. And again, the neural pathways I think are set in her brain, but she needs a quicker way to get there and not use so much mental energy trying to figure out the concept again or try to remember where it is stored in her brain. So I want to make that a smoother transition. So I think to solve that problem, I need to just add in a little more review of things she's gone through. So what I did with that is I looked at Math Mammoth, because I've heard Math Mammoth is very similar to Dimensions, just not as pretty and just more concise. So I looked at the different options they had, and they had, you know, a grade level book where just skills for that grade level. And then they also had skills workbooks. So it would just go practice. And that's exactly what I needed. Just practice for that grade level. So because Dimensions and Math Mammoth go so well together, it actually worked out pretty well. So I purchased the skills workbooks for 1st through 7th grade. And that was $28, which you can't beat that. So it's a PDF, you obviously download it, print it as you need it, but I wasn't originally even gonna have my 7-year-old do it because she's pretty good with math, but I figured since I have it, why not? So every day I'm gonna have them do a math review sheet for their grade level. So my 7-year-old will be doing the middle of 1st grade math, and then my 11-year-old will be doing the skill sets for the middle to end of 4th grade, beginning 5th grade math. So I just printed, and what's really nice is I could kind of customize to where they were and what specific things I knew they needed to work on. So I just put them in folders. This is my 7-year-old, and I just printed out different review sheets. And again, she will do one of these pages a day. And it's funny, I think my 7-year-old will really enjoy these pages because she actually really likes math. So she sees it like puzzles and things like that. So every day, Monday through Thursday, I'm just gonna have the girls do that. And just to keep things fresh in their brains. So this would be an example of a page for my 11-year-old. So just keeping those things fresh, because some of the things I've been reading about retention just talk about, you know, you don't have to drill 50 problems. You don't have to constantly be pushing it, but just having that slight, quick review helps the brain with those neural pathways. So that's something I picked up. Next, I picked up, I guess this really isn't homeschooling, but I thought it related to it. I picked up the Week Junior. So my 11-year-old has got National Geographic Kids for years, and she loves it. And I was looking for something else for her to do because she really enjoys magazines. And the thing I really liked about this is that it has a whole nature and environment section. So it has animals and environment. I thought she'd really like that. And then she's very much into activism and you know, climate change, saving the world, that type of person. So I thought she would actually enjoy, you know, the national news part and see what's going on in the world. And I really do like to give them that world perspective. She has no interest in the sports section. I'll tell you that right now. She does like the science and technology. And she does like the end where they give like video game recommendations and book recommendations. So that was pretty cool. So we got the free trial, so we haven't actually paid for anything yet. It's, I think, 6 issues you get for free. And if she likes it, we'll continue. If not, that's fine too. My 7-year-old does like looking at it as well. One thing that came when we got it was this Week Junior Presents Brain Stretching Puzzles. My 7-year-old loved this. She's very into, again, she's my puzzle child, and figuring out the different things. So she actually took this and used it while my 11-year-old was like, puzzles. So that is something I picked up, but I haven't paid for that yet. Next would be things I got from thrift books. So something I'm looking at for my kiddos. So my 11-year-old, she finished Michael Clay Thompson, the first level, the Grammar Island level. And I was looking for something for her to practice because she's been doing sentence analysis once a week for this past year. And I wanted her to, again, practice some of the things she's learned so she doesn't lose it. So just, again, that small, simple reminder, keeping those neural pathways accessible. So I looked at this and I picked this up, Editor-in-Chief, Grammar, Disasters, and Punctuation's Faux Pas. So one thing I've noticed with her writing, she uses AW and her writing's really good, but she makes simple mistakes sometimes, like accidentally putting a capital when there shouldn't be a capital letter. She's really good with punctuation. We've never really had a problem with that. But I thought having her look at passages and picking out, and the first section is content, picking out some of the problems. So for example, here, it tells you in the corner, period, question mark, comma, colon, parentheses, semicolon. She's really bad at remembering to put quotation marks in too. So I want her to look at and start realizing that yes, she does in fact need to do that. Her thought process is good, what she's physically writing is really good, but we need to clean it up a little. So I really like the look of this, so she's gonna be working through this once a week instead of, since she finished the Michael Clay Thompson. I could have easily just done nothing, but I don't want her to lose those skills. So this won't take long. This will be part of her independent work, and it'll keep the things she's learned fresh. Something I looked at for my 7-year-old, who again, she's interesting with memory and retention. She has difficulty remembering certain things, but in other areas, it's like second nature to her. So math, she doesn't really struggle with remembering anything in. But with language art, she struggles with stuff. But her reading comprehension is really good. And I think a lot of that has to do with using core knowledge the past year, because during the readings, there's questions you ask and pulling information. So she's able to make a lot of connections with reading comprehension. But I wanted to start her a little bit more on, grammar and things like that. We've done it a little bit through the Journeys and Trophies books we've read, but I want to dive a little deeper into that. And because she has ADHD and she struggles with some memory issues, working memory, I wanted to try doing things that are more repetitive with her, because she does really benefit for some repetition. So I was looking into first language lessons. And again, this is something I looked at for my oldest way back when, and very early on eliminated because it's so not her. Again, my 11-year-old does really well in the language arts field. This would have bored her to death, especially repetition. It would have killed her. But my 7-year-old, on the other hand, I think might actually benefit from this. I like that it's short and quick, but again, it's working on that repetition and that retention and being able to pull information. So I'm definitely exploring that area more, which I hadn't previously done. But again, my kids' brains are completely different, so that requires me to stretch and learn as well. So I'm gonna be trying this out with her and seeing how that works. But again, it was only, it was only a few bucks on thrift books. So I was like, why not? We'll give it a shot. So the last thing I picked up at thrift books were the art books. Arlene and Company made a whole video and flip through of these. I'll link them down below. But this is what we'll be doing for middle school art. I will link up above my middle school plan as of now for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for my oldest. But I wanted to start picking these up because I've noticed that since Arlene made that video, it's harder to find some of the copies. They come in less frequently than they did before, because before I was just eyeing them and be like, yeah, I'll pick them up when we get there. But I've noticed that it's harder to find some of the teacher guides. So I started slowly picking these up, and they range from, $5 to $8. I think the teacher guides were more $8, and then the student books were like $6, but they're all really good condition. So the last thing I picked up was from the C website, and I'm gonna take you on my computer to show you that one. All right, so this is the Secular Eclectic Academic website, and I go on here to find different resources to use. And something my daughter has really expressed interest in is learning more about climate change. Again, this is something we've talked about during science, something we've talked about during social justice, but she wants to dive deeper because this is something she's really passionate about. Right now, she's leaning towards environmental activism when she grows up. So I said, sure. So I was looking at different climate change options that we could do during the summer as kind of more of a unit study. So this was by Blair Lee. And again, I've listened to her podcast and watched the different things she's put, or different videos, and I really do respect her opinion on a lot of this, and having a science degree, I think it really is important. So I looked this over and I ordered this from the website. I did it during their sale, so I only spent, it says this, but I spent $19.96 on it. And I ordered the print copy just because I really do prefer print copies. There's so much PDF for homeschooling right now, but I do prefer print, so I'm waiting for that to come in the mail. Another thing I got during that sale was this book, and again, it was, I think I spent $12 on it. It's called Homeschool Teacher, Practical Guide to Inspiring Academic Excellence. Again, have never heard of this book, but I've been on a homeschooling book kick lately. I'll insert my most recent, what I've been reading. So I really wanted to see what this was about and look more deeper into it, so I'm going to try that book out, see if I like it. So the last thing I bought was 5th grade brain food. This is something I'm going to be working into next year for independent work. So I downloaded this as a PDF, and it's got logical fallacy, social emotional learning, psychology, book choice, ethics. So I thought this would be a fun little thing to include in my daughter's independent work, and because it was that sale, it was only $2.40. I mean, it's not expensive to buy the whole package, but here's the thing, I don't need the whole package. It's okay to just buy the things you need. So that is everything I bought from the C website. So that is everything I bought in March that we'll be using in homeschooling either now, this summer, or next year. And I'll continue to make videos as I get more things. And really it's when we wrap up the end of the year and start into summer stuff, I'll more critically look at my selections and be intentional about the things I choose to pick up, because I don't have the money to be swapping things out. And I really don't have the time to be constantly chasing different curriculum. So I'm very intentional, so you will not see probably next year's curriculum picks until summer, when I know for sure that's what I'll be using. But I will continue to update things I buy over the next few months. If you have any questions about anything I showed you, leave them in the comments below. If not, thank you for watching.